Live from an undisclosed bunker in the middle of the Nevada desert. That may or may not be true.
Sure.
Hint, it's not true.
Sure. I'm with you, man.
As is everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you'll turn your attention to the center ring, the show is about to begin.
To the center ring?
To the center ring. The Squatchable podcast is live. Joining me as...
Is it a squared circle?
Could be.
No.
Introspection is always good.
Okay.
We should change things. Mix it up.
Sure.
Joining me as always from the Fortean Slip, Chris York. Chris, welcome to the show.
Welcome to me. Yes.
Oh, you know what? Chubbs is online. I'm just going to send him the invite. He can fill in for Phil.
Oh. Going with an outside source?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just irritated now.
Are we crossing the picket lines and grabbing ourselves a scab here?
We're bringing ourselves a scab.
You know, I prefer not to refer to them in that way. That derogatory term in this day and age.
In this day and age. But yes, we'll see if he joins. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
If he does, he does.
Hmm.
So,
how was your week, Richard?
our week was pretty good. Thank you for asking.
How was the show last week without me?
It went all right, actually. Me and Phil had a good chat about stuff.
I had a wedding reception to go to, so I couldn't quite make it.
That's always the worst when that happens.
I had to drink.
I
didn't have to, but it helped. So, yeah. No, it was a good time.
You've got to drink at a wedding and a wake. And one you're celebrating, and the other you're commiserating.
I technically didn't go to the wedding. I went to the reception. So, the wedding was a more private ceremony, immediate family, and it was on a mountaintop.
All right. So, if you enjoy the Fortean Slip or Parabreakdown, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of two Bigfoot and on over to Facebook. Bigfooting with Keith N Collin, where this week Eau Claire will be trying to prove to the world that he is as awesome as he thinks he is. And that's what's coming up on Bigfooting with Keith N Collin. Without further ado, I am your host, Richard Allen, and let's just jump into it. Our first story comes from the man, the myth, the legend that is Tim Fasano. Good old Tim Fasano.
Man in the Bigfoot community most likely to win an Oscar for a YouTube video. Tim Fasano.
I love Tim Fasano. I will never, ever get tired of his videos. He had
so many sections of this video where he gets so serious.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was misled by this video's title. He said that nobody who cares about his Bigfoot research was the title of his video, and the blurb was, I work hard to make good videos that are honest.
Yeah.
And, sorry.
Did you leave your place?
No. It's just that Chubbs joined, but it says I can't add him because his device isn't connected.
His device isn't... Oh, his mic.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Chubbs, welcome to the stream.
Can we hear him?
I can't hear
him. There's a settings button at the bottom of the screen, Chubbs. You can change your microphone over.
Anyway, while we wait for that to sort itself out,
right.
Tim Fasano wrote in the blurb, of his video. I work hard to make a good video that are honest and show the real landscape, flora, fauna, and wildlife of Florida. And nobody seems to give a shit other than the faithful 7 consistent followers I have. The harder I work, the fewer people watch my channel. It's not fair that others, while videos are rubbish, get thousands of views and I can't buy a crowd. So I expected this was going to be a standard Tim Fasano railing on the rest of the community. Instead, we got unnecessary theme music at the beginning, and that's how I'm going to refer to that. He has a theory about how cryptids exploit artificial.
You didn't like his intro?
No, I like the intro. It was just unnecessary. That's how I feel about that sort of thing. I like it, but it's unnecessary. He has a theory about how cryptids exploit artificial environments in the forests, as in like, man-made pathways, power lines, that sort of thing. He believes that power lines are a possible source of communication. He goes to a bird hide, or in America, I believe it's called a blind.
I especially liked the quarter on the power line metal.
Yes. He's upset by the conditions of the swamp. He's looking for drier, conditions.
Captain Planet?
Looking for prints. When swampy and hot are the conditions he's facing. Then we get a lovely little slow-mo piece. And he's out looking for the Bigfoot, which he refers to consistently throughout this video as the cryptid, quote unquote.
The cryptid.
The cryptid. It's, both creepy and cool at the same time. He points out that wood knocking is a form of communication, that Bigfoot apparently use. Everyone seems to think this, only I've never seen any concrete evidence that this is the case. Bigfoot are smart. Technology will be the key to finding Bigfoot. We have more unnecessary theme music. And he ends with a picture of a pig from his trail cams.
Yeah, I liked the for no reason deer. Twice. In the same video.
Yeah.
The same shot of the 2 deer. Twice. I love Tim Fasano. I had him on my show a couple of times. I'd love to have him on again. Tim, buddy, you're treading dangerously close to Todd Standing territory with these types of videos. Not that I think you're hoaxing anything in these videos by any stretch. It's the shots of you going over the log, trudging through the wilderness.
You just need a ghillie suit, really.
Yeah, I mean that you're a step away, and some ATV, all-terrain vehicles, some ATVs,
lots of stuff like that. Chubbs, you realize you've muted yourself, right? You can unmute and join the podcast.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
can
hear you.
Cool. Let me tell you, coming from the swamps, I give Tim a little credit for getting out there, but he seems to be going in the same places over and over again. So I don't know if that's doing him any good.
You're from Louisiana, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, these places are extremely hot and muggy, and I know because I've done some hiking in Florida. To what degree? I mean, it's all, you don't do any mountain hiking in Florida by any stretch of the imagination, but and it is very warm. So yeah, he's out there and he's going through a lot of some dense vegetation. But yeah, I would say the same thing. I'd say it looks like he's going to a lot of the similar areas. However, that's kind of hard to judge though, because a lot of Florida looks the same. I mean, it literally looks the same, pretty much everywhere you go. So I don't know.
That is true.
I don't know how much how much stock I could put in that. But I do give him credit. It's obvious he's getting out there and he's getting into the wilderness. But he to me, he's an entertaining gentleman. So I'll always check out his stuff. I'm one of those 7 viewers, Tim.
Well, on his video, I commented, and I hope you don't mind that I commented this, but I commented, I care, Tim, Squatchable News and the Fortean Slip care about you. That's actually what I care, commented on his video. I hope you don't mind that I commented that, but had to be said. Our next story.
Richard was like Ice-T at the end of that Rick and Morty episode. I care now.
Our next story comes from
I'd like to
Squatchable.
hear what Tim Fasano has to say.
Now, originally, I got a video from Squatchable about a hawk on a nest. Looks like an American version of a goshawk, which is a British bird. I don't know what the American term for it is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some whoops in the background. But I have since found out from Phil that he did a breakdown of this, and he doesn't seem to understand what the whoops are either.
He doesn't seem to understand what they are either.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to know if they're coyotes or dogs or anything like that. He says, he's on the fence.
Yeah, when I heard it, the first thing I thought was that's either like some type of a whoop, or it's a dog bark, some type of a dog noise.
Right.
And that's the first thing I went to.
The first whoop does sound like a dog, but as you get later on in the video, it becomes a lot more weirder.
Hey, don't we have enough audio tracks of what we know to compare what we hear?
Yeah, but it's not. Sometimes, from being out in the field and hearing things, sometimes it doesn't always sound the same. There's variations and stuff. Yeah, we have stuff to compare these sounds to, but you got to remember, this sound also is coming from another area. The sound is bouncing off of whatever before it gets there. So you're getting a watered down version of what it is. And Phil knows his stuff when it comes to that. Not as much as his stuff when it comes to photography and video, but he knows what he's talking about. So I don't know. I don't know myself how the science behind that stuff works, but to me, it sounded like it could have been, a few different things.
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint because the first whoop sounds like a dog, but then it sounds more human, and then it sounds more primatey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either somebody staging this or
right, and you never know. Like I had read a story a while ago. Excuse me, and I can't remember where it was, but it was about a guy going on who decided to help out with a Bigfoot expedition. And he had offered to carry some stuff for him. He was just like, I just want to go out and do one of these things. And, so they, took care of everything for him. He just kind of helped him carry supplies and stuff like that. And they were sending out calls and they were getting calls back. And they, they just keep moving in closer and closer and closer. And they come upon another group of squatchers, so like with stuff like this, I always wonder, is it somebody out in the woods making noise too? That's always a possibility to me.
Well, a lot of people keep their places secret just because of that now.
Yeah, but with a lot of those places, you can't even guarantee that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are public places. I remember when I went to the Sierra Kills site, quote unquote. I took a lot of I'll use the term guff from some people because they didn't want anybody going up there to spoil the research site. And it's like, it's a public place. There's people going up there all the time. You know, there's like people logging up there. There's, you know, a guy who lives right down the road on the side of the mountain. Like, so I don't know. Could be anything, Richard. Could be anything.
Could be anything. So we move on to our next story.
Do we have another story?
We do.
Oh, I only read 2.
It's still better than normal. So okay. This is a 5-minute video from the Blue Mountain Bigfoot Research. It's a scientifically based research group dedicated to the discovery and classification of North America's great apes. This story takes place between 9:30 to 10 at night. What is going on with my graphic?
Good job, Richard.
Good job.
Good job.
Everyone's acting fine that night, but the dude telling the story is starting to get a weird vibe. He says this several times during the interview. He says he gets a weird vibe, and he's hanging out, and then he sees a male Sasquatch, and he's pretty sure it's a male, ran to behind a bush where the dude had the initial feeling. The interviewer suspects that there was a female in the area, and the male got territorial about it. That is pure speculation because there's absolutely no evidence of that. The floodlight was pointed towards the male running, but he managed to avoid it. He speculated that he knew the light was there and kept out of the way. Then it concludes with a breakdown of the story put together by the interviewer. It starts with the dude had a weird vibe. He saw a Bigfoot behind a tree. It took off down the road, and the Bigfoot walked around the house and then back in the direction that it came from. He suspected it to be picking apples from the apple orchard where they were hanging out. And that is the synopsis of that whole experience.
The synopsis or the synopsis?
I'm saying synopsis.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with that.
That's you're sticking to your guns on that one?
I'm just going all in. Yes, all in. Never back down.
All right. Yeah,
but yeah, it's a lot of speculation.
With this, but this is another. It's another story. You know, it's another person's story. It's another person's encounter. And you know, how much can you know we really beat that up? You know, or not even so much beat it up, but you know how much we could kind of look at the logistics of things, so on and so forth. But it's just a story. I'd like to see a lot more evidence.
Yeah,
you know, as I think everybody will.
They have a lot of information for not to be having a camera around or anything, I would think.
Yeah, the whole that's another thing that gets me nowadays too is you get a lot of these stories, and then I'm like, well, why is there nothing, no photographic evidence whatsoever? I just watched with my son the Beast of Bray Road documentary that Seth Breedlove did, and a lot of these people are talking, and I know that this wasn't recent, a lot of these encounters that they're talking about, but you know, you have a few of these guys and they're just like, oh, I've been investigating and checking this thing out for a long time. It's like, well, why would there no photographs of anything if there's all this investigation and you've seen all these different things? You know, I get really suspicious of stuff like that.
Yeah, they said they know it's going around an apple tree. Well, that's a pretty good place to start.
Yeah.
There should be print, some physical evidence.
Right. Go up to the spot. They take some photographic evidence, get some people people there for comparison. There's all kinds of things that people can do, and you don't see a lot of it being done. And it should be.
Yeah, it should be done, but you don't see it, and it's irritating.
And I mean, I'm not trying to beat up on these people. These people had an experience.
Obviously, I mean,
so
we're not calling these people liars.
But Ellen, I'm not saying hey, these people automatically did the wrong thing. You know, it's just some stuff becomes questionable.
Yeah, especially when you know they're in a certain area and no one's done any like follow up.
Right. You know, as much as I like to beat up the Sierra Kills thing, I tip my hat to Bart Catino for going back there
Yeah,
and doing
thorough
comparison
investigation.
videos.
Yeah, and the Grays Harbor footage as well.
Yeah.
A
Yep.
lot of background was done on that.
Yep. So
I mean, it seems like every time we get a piece of video evidence, people will go out there whether to debunk it or confirm it. But when we get like sightings reports, no one seems to care.
yeah, but not a lot of people go there and do the due diligence of everything like Bart did for that one video, or that you saw Phil do on the Grays Harbor.
Mm.
So
I agree. Moving on to our next story. We have a breakdown that didn't come from Parabreakdown or Bigfoot Tony.
wow.
I know, right? This is done by Paranormal Review. It's he did give the original footage name. That's a criticism right there.
Mm.
Because you should always reveal who originally uploaded it.
Mm-hmm.
He says that there's a picture and a video. You can see the Bigfoot behind the tree. That's the picture that's on the graphic.
Right, and that one, the interesting thing that I noticed right off about this video is like that picture is not in the video.
Well, the reviewer takes pains to point that out several times. He says he's already suspicious based on the movement of the camera because they follow it.
Oh, you mean
follow
the fact that they pan over like a minute before the fucking thing? The thing comes across.
There's also the fact that the Bigfoot seems to slip and grab a nearby tree.
Oh my god!
The reviewer suspects it's a person in a suit steadying themselves. I couldn't find the frame where the picture was taken from. He's saying that they also switched off the camera before the encounter was really over because it was still behind a tree.
Yeah.
And its motions appear to be a clumsy human in a costume. The reviewer is not impressed by this at all and deems it a hoax.
I instantly, when I saw it, I was like, this is a guy in a suit, or it's just something being filmed from far away. This is not a Bigfoot.
Yeah, it was a pretty awful example of a costume Squatch.
Yeah.
So our final story comes from Matt Squatch. It's a 6-minute video on the 3 most famous Bigfoot.
They didn't used to do that. They used to put up any kind of video, but lately they've been really trying to break down on people. I must give them credit for that.
It's coming out with, Bigfooting is like any other community. It goes in a big circle, and we're finally starting to come out of this anything goes period and go back to the skeptical era. It's been a long 6 or 7 years, but we're finally getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for one, am grateful for that. But our final story comes from Matt Squatch. It's a 6-minute video, 3 most famous instances of Bigfoot video or picture evidence. It's the Mayaka skunk ape pictures, Bats and Gimlin film, and the Freeman footage. And Matt Squatch believes that there's a government agency dedicated to keeping Bigfoot a secret. Of the 3 pieces of evidence, and I find this particularly interesting, Matt Squatch thinks the Mayaka skunk ape pictures are the best. And that was at the end of the video, which is particularly distressing to me because the Mayaka skunk ape pictures have, of course, been proven to be a hoax.
Yeah.
That's the orangutan one.
Yeah. That's the one with the Bigfoot behind the palm fronds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked into that and people pointed out that the palm trees look glued to under the nose.
Yeah, they are. They move with the picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'd cry foul right off the bat because of that. Because I'd immediately go with the Freeman footage anyway.
The Freeman footage.
Yeah, I'd go Freeman
That's
footage.
the best one.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, the Patterson Gimlin footage. As you know, if you were to take a still frame from that,
Yeah.
you know, the Freeman footage, I like it. You know, but there's not. It's a very. It's not a great film.
It's worse than the Patterson Gimlin film. I
Yeah.
don't know how he managed that.
Yeah, because it was taken years later.
Literally 30 years apart.
So, I mean, I would go Patterson Gimlin. That's just me.
Yeah, I'd go Freeman footage.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
We will on that. Now, the 4K footage has really broken me on the Patterson Gimlin film.
Oh, stop it! Well, what's your vote, Chubbs?
Chubbs, you have the decider.
I'll say Patterson Gimlin just because I heard a lot about Freeman making his own foot cast. Makes it kind of
In your
sketchy.
face, Richard.
Wow. I mean, I invite you on my show, and this is what I get in response.
It's mutiny.
It's mutiny. That's what it is. Okay, why the Patterson Gimlin film?
For me,
No, go ahead,
Chris. For me, I go with which you hear a lot of people say it, but given the amount of time it's been that we still can't find any real flaws like zippers or nobody's come out or we haven't found a suit. Those seem to be something I think all this time later, something would have come out by now. So that's a big thing for me.
All right.
Did you want my opinion?
Go on then.
No, did you want it?
Yeah.
Like for real, you want it?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay.
Give it.
I just think it's the. I mean, if you wanted to ask me what's the best picture representation of something, it's the one thing that I believe, shows the creature. So I would have to go with that. It's the one that I believe the most out of all of it, as far as like video evidence. I'd go Patterson Gimlin, then I'd go the Freeman footage. After that, I don't know. But that's why I would base it on that. I tend to like that footage the best out of all of them, and if I were to go photo, still frame image from that.
Well, there's no real good photo. I mean, the Mayaka skunk ape is clearly a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anyone says. And I don't know. The Patterson Gimlin film, I can't prove it's a hoax. I just feel like the 4K footage makes it look a bit dodgy.
Well, you got to remember the 4K footage too is making that quality up to 4K, so you're losing something out of it in the process anyway.
Right. I mean, I get that. You're just feeding information to a computer and it interprets it the best it can into a video, but also it does it does post in some frames a clearer picture of
a Bigfoot?
Of a Bigfoot, in your opinion. In my opinion, it looks like a person in a suit.
Okay. All right, man.
I mean, we will always agree to disagree on the Patterson Gimlin footage.
Sure.
But yeah,
I'm open. Hey, I'm open to being wrong. So, anyway, continue on.
Okay, so that will do us for this week. Thank you for Chubbs for filling in for Phil.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
I think in future I'm going to send you the news stories as well, just in case. Because. And Chris, what's the topic for tomorrow's show?
Frontier monsters, lumberjack stories. It's along those lines. There's a whole genre for that. Matt and I were discussing it. So we're doing that. And my son's going to join the show because Steve is not going to be on the show. So
All right, then.
tomorrow. I haven't fired him or anything.
It will return. So that's tomorrow night on the Fortean Slip. We will return next week, of course, despite the hopes of many. And
hold on. I gotta ask a question before we go off the air. Chubbs.
Yeah.
Chubbs. Now, for those of us who live outside of Louisiana, yeah, if you look in a book or on a map, it's spelled out New Orleans.
Right.
How in the hell do we pronounce it?
People around here say it both ways. Like,
Is it Nolans?
that's a local thing where it's
Okay.
an apostrophe. That's for people who live right around here.
All right.
But you get New Orleans or Nolans or New Orleans. Either way, you hear them all.
New Orleans sounds horrible. I had to clear that up for everybody, Richard. I'm sorry. We had to have a lesson on dialect.
On dialect. The Louisiana accent is one of the best accents on the planet. Fight me.
Nolans it is.
Give me a Cajun accent any time of the day. And I'm
Sounds
yours, man or woman. Okay, I don't care. All right. And of course, this week on Bigfooting with Keith N Collin, Eau Claire will be proving to the world he is just as awesome as he thinks he is. I was your host, Richard Allen. He was Chris York and Chubbs008 joining us instead of Phil. Saying good night from me, and it's good night from them. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.